This is genius.
This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to the Gritty Bowmen.
I've never seen so many mullets in my life.
No, it's just about feeling good.
You had more chins than a Chinese phone book for a while.
Man.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah. I mean, he's right. He said, Goonies never say die. We're going.
We got this.
All right.
I was pulling the trigger, but the safety was on.
I just Randy Black Eagle.
That's it. Boom.
That's my.
That's how we roll. Just drop the mic and walk away.
Hey, Frank, I hate to do this to you, but I need a peanut butter bar stat. So I'm getting ready to start the podcast, so just come in the door, don't knock, and then throw it to me. I'm getting hangry. Brian said I'm not smiling enough.
Yeah, you're a little too cranky this morning. It's
Yeah,
not
sure.
you.
All right, thanks, man.
We just need to start talking turkeys.
He's on the mission.
Excellent.
Man, when we were at the I do get hangry, and when we were at the Western Hunt Expo, the lady was very nice and let us out the wrong door, and I hadn't eaten in a while. And she's like, oh, you can come out here, but make sure and shut the door. So Frank and Dave are behind me, and they don't shut the door. Dude, I lost my shit. Are you fucking retarded? What did she just say? And Frank's like, what's wrong? I'm like, she said shut the door. Shut the door. She was nice enough to let us out. And Frank starts yelling, someone get this man a sandwich. Stat.
All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Bowmen podcast. I'm here with Aron Snyder, back from a turkey killing trip.
A couple of them died. I only found one.
Basically, you went turkey hunting with the trad gear, and dude, tell me all about it. I want to hear the stories.
Well, yeah, I was in Kansas, and first hunt with the tradbow, so I learned quite a bit, which I'll go through throughout the podcast. But the guy that I went with has a fairly important job. I don't know how much of it I can talk about, so I won't, but a fairly significant job that helps veterans. And actually, on that note, before I forget, we get a ton of support from many people, but one of the things, being former military, I want to throw a huge shout out and thank you for all the support from the veterans, whether you're active or prior, or, at home or abroad. We have a lot of guys overseas that send in emails and messages to us just thanking us for the Gritty Bowmen. So, and this guy that I was hunting with is definitely here to help you. He's a super good guy and trying to fix things with that are going wrong with some of the stuff with the VA. But either way, so thanks to the veterans. I know you guys get the shaft on a lot of different things because I was shafted as well. But anyway, so I was out there with him, and he's not exactly a set of car keys himself. He's about 6'6", 6'7". He's got to be pushing 300 pounds. Big dude. His brother is another friend of mine who's like 6'10". So
Jeez.
Big guy. So he and I in the blind, it was like, like here, let's see. This was his section to here, and then I had this little section over here.
you got 1/4 of the blind.
No, he's funny. So it wasn't like this crazy epic trip. I actually packed his lawn chairs into the blind because they were his like patio furniture, because they were reclining metal chairs. They didn't make noise, and the blind chairs squeak a little. So, but either way, I've hunted with him before. He's like the coolest guy in the world. He's super mellow. He's got a deep voice like Chewbacca, right? So, which comes into play on some of the different recounts of what happened in the blind as he repeated them back to me in his deep voice. Was pretty funny, but I'll go over those in a minute. So I've killed a ton of turkeys with the bow, with a compound, right?
Yeah,
and I
right.
can call decent enough.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world with the trad bow, because when they come out at 30, 32, which is well within range of a headshot with a compound, he's like, shoot it. I'm like, oh, I'll hit it. It could be in the hoof. It could be in the head. It could be in the tail. I'm like, this is not a precise piece of machinery here. I'm like, but the first day we had
30 yards. He's like, nail it. And you're sitting there going, well, I'll hit it, I'm sure. Just not sure where.
I hit one at 4 yards and didn't find it after I killed that one. And but either way, the first day, he's like, dude, they come up and feed up here. You're good. First day, guarantee you'll have ops by 7:30. We're sitting in the blind. Here comes Big Tom strutting, coming in. I've got the camera. I'm thinking they're going to hang out for a minute. I'm like, snake. Well, they're a little blind shy. They have been shot at, not from my buddy, but someone in the neighboring property. They've been shot at by the ground blind. They started, buck, 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 and then they were gone. So I'm like, well, that didn't work out quite like I planned it. So I didn't shoot the first day at all. He wanted me to shoot a big bird, and I wanted to shoot a big bird, but a few times he's like, are you going to shoot? And I'm like, dude, I've got to kind of prove a point with the whole stick bow. I need to shoot a stud turkey if there is such a thing. Like, it's a turkey, right? It's not like I'm shooting 400 bullets. It's turkey. But
being the non-turkey hunter that I am, I really can't tell much of a difference when someone's like, look at this turkey. I'm like, yeah, they all kind of look the same to me.
Well, this one was tripping on his beard, literally, when I killed it. So
that means he was a whole 2 years old, probably.
He was 7, probably 6 years old.
No way. I don't think they get beyond 3 before they get.
It's easy to tell because when you have, like, I passed up 30, 40 birds the first day.
Yeah.
You can see, out of the gate, little beard, 2-year-old, 3-year-old. Well, my beard was 11 plus inches.
Oh, wow.
So it was a big bird. It's 26 and a half pounds.
That's kind of how it goes because I kind of thought a turkey's lifespan was like an old ancient turkey was like 3.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say.
Do they live to like 7?
I don't know, but I would guess this bird of mine was 5 just from its spurs and its beard and the weight of it. But I'm not like an expert. I don't have a degree in turkeyology.
You should, Aaron. You should understand the animals you're hunting.
Oh, I understood enough.
I know how to kill them.
Yeah, but he came in. They were feeding to me. So, like, if this Phelps game calls, Phelps is a great guy. This is like the turkey's head, right? Mm-hmm. And this is where it goes into the body. I'm aiming in here, and I said 22 yards, but actually it was 16 because I don't really pay attention. You kind of just draw back and follow your heart with the old stick bow, so it's not like I'm ranging anything, but. Right when I shot, we watched it in slow motion, and he pivoted back, and I hit him right at the base of the neck head and just bang flopped him. And
wow.
I was like, I must have hit it in the head. So he videoed it on the cell phone, so we watched, and like the arrow's going straight, just going to poaxe at the base of the neck, and he does this step back, and I whacked him right at the base of the head neck, not the base of the neck body. So after that, I'm not going to lie, trying to shoot his brother, Fred, I went Winchester on that thing. I shot every arrow I had at that other one because he took off and he like was sympathetic. He's like, oh, where's Dave? And he comes back in and I'm like, oh, I'm going to smoke this thing. Shot, obviously, heat of the moment. If it was anything bigger than a turkey, I would have hit it. I tried to shoot it in the base of the neck.
Yeah.
Dude, I whizzed by the head like that, the neck head area, and I'm like, man, if I had a guillotine, I would have whacked his head off. He runs over, and I'm like, shoot again, just right underneath it. And I'm like, so somewhere in the middle of that, I had a beast mode come out, and I'm like, I'm going to go beast mode on this mother something. And he looks at me, he's like, you've only got one arrow left. So, dude, I'm at full draw, and I'm like really concentrating, trying to execute shot sequence. Well, in the middle of that, I did not pay attention to my bottom limb and my calf muscle, and the bottom limb tip hit my calf hard, and then that made the limb bounce forward, so then it bounced off the top of the blind, and then it bounced back, and my string hit me in the head, and then I jerked over, knocked the camera out of my buddy's hand, and I was like, he's like, dude, your accuracy is horrible. I'm like, man, it hit my leg. My calf's all still swollen up. I got a big bruise where the limb tip hit it.
Yeah.
Not a lot of room in the blind. So at that point, we had to go find my arrows and took some photos of the turkey and whatever. So
it sounds far less illustrious, this version, than the one I had pictured in my mind seeing the pictures on Instagram.
No, we were a solid 150 yards from the front door of the house. Like, that's just how turkeys are in a lot of spots in Kansas. We weren't very far from the house, right? I would like to have gone farther, but then there would have been no turkeys there. So we just went where the turkeys go. But,
totally.
So I'm skipping a few things, whatever, like just different. We had a turkey that must have got hit by a car come in.
Yeah.
And he's looking at the ground, and he's like, "Are you talking to me?" And he looked behind him really fast, and he looked forward, and his neck was all crooked. He had a beard. He was kind of like that retarded horse on the Family Guy. He had like a beard like this, and he had like 4 tail feathers. He wasn't looking good. So we had more birds coming that day, but I wanted to shoot. I just thought it'd be epic with a trad bow to shoot just 2 11 plus inch beard turkeys. So it rained the next morning or next day. It was supposed to rain, and Matt had a bunch of homework to do and business stuff. So I moved the blind to where it was like a 5-yard or in shot, right? Because in the blind all day, with the trad bow, you get to see way more animal behavior. Because before, if a turkey came out at 40 yards, I was going to kill it. Now it's 10 more minutes before it's in. He may stand out there at full strut, and I'd purr real softly. Yeah, I got to see a lot of that, where before I'd be like, "Oh, there's a turkey, let me kill it." That's gone, right? There's a turkey, let me shoot at it is more the thing with the trad bow. So I set the blind up.
It's kind of cool the way that works, though, because it's sort of like the same difference if a guy is holding out. Like where I hunt blacktail, I could shoot a small 3x3 on the first few days of hunting at this point. But I want to shoot an older 5 or 6 year old buck now. By virtue of holding out, I see so much deer behavior over the course of a week or 10 days that I never saw before. And with the trad, it sounds like it's similar. Like the amount of turkey behavior that you saw by using your trad bow, by virtue of the fact that it's just not in range when it used to be, you're going to see a lot more activity than you did before. Plus, closer up. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, oh yeah. And the big thing was I held out forever. My buddy's looking at me because he's seen me black out before and just kill everything. And he's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like,
"Why are you shooting that Jake?"
Yeah, I'm like, "I got to shoot a big one." And even when I was in the blind by myself, he texted me. He's like, "I would seriously consider just shooting one of those Jakes." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I'm going to wait." And so anyway, I set the blind up where the turkeys pretty much was DOA. They were like 5 yards from the blind when they come around the tree.
Yeah.
And they catch you slipping, though, man. I'm over there playing on Facebook and look up and there's 6 turkeys standing around. But so this one, I'm calling and he's gobbling like crazy. I can hear, and there's 6 or 7 birds just firing back and forth. And so I get everything ready and I got the arrow knocked. And dude, it comes in and it's a double beard and they're about 11 inches long, bigger than the one I killed. The one I killed is actually the biggest turkey I've ever shot with a bow, and I've shot some big ones with my compound.
Yeah,
dude. So I draw back and it's so close to the blind, I can't shoot. I'll shoot the blind out the window.
Yeah, I was gonna say, your recurve's got to be a lot longer, harder to maneuver inside the blind, you whacked yourself with it.
That would be correct analysis. 62 inches long. Yeah, you're not exactly moving around a straw in there. It's a pain in the butt. So I draw back and I'm like, I just happened to look down at my point and I'm like, oh, I'm going to shoot the window. So I stand up and just poax this thing, hammered it. It flies up. I thought it was coming through the window of the blind. It bounces off the blind, arrow sticking out of it, the wings all screwed up, flips around for a while, and it lays like 18 yards away, and its wing is over its head like this, and it's laying there, and I can see where I broke its wing off. Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, this is awesome. That's 2 birds, giant birds. I go to grab my stuff, and I look up, and dude, he pulled a Kaiser Sorsay on me. He was gone. I'm like, shoot. He ran off. So, and it's raining hard, and I'm worried about my feathers getting wet, because once they get wet, you're kind of screwed. Which was another lesson learned. I should have had real life turkey feathers because they're very water repellent, or or pull.
So are your arrows real feathers or faux feathers?
I guess they're chicken feathers or whatever they are. I think. I don't know.
Because don't they have like the plastic feathers that?
No, I don't know what you're talking about. That's called a fletch or a vane.
No. I thought they were not real feather.
No, they're feathers.
Really? Is that the true for most tradbow arrow setups?
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I think they're chicken feathers, though. But they're not very water resistant. I
thought Anthony was shooting some synthetic feathers, some kind of synthetic feather.
If they did, they made it look a lot like ground down. Look at that.
Peanut butter bar to the rescue.
Thanks, man. So, it looks like they're ground down feathers. So I'm pretty sure they're feathers because it sure looks like a feather. But either way, I needed turkey feathers because they have more oil in them and they're more waterproof or resistant.
Okay.
And I didn't put any waterproofing on the ones I had. So I get out of the blind and run over there and look around.
It's a legit problem, though, because those things go flat. They get wet.
Flatter than a monkey's ass. Yeah, and like bad. So I'm worried about getting them wet. So I run over there and look, and I come back, and I'm like, well, if it's hit, it's hit. It's not going to run anywhere. Turkeys usually just bed up and dive into the first patch of bushes. So it stops raining, and I go do a little bit of CSI Kansas on the blood trail. I'm like, okay, this is what happened. And it runs over under a tree, and I'm following it, and I almost step on it under a bush because I'm getting on, and it takes off, and it looks like a Chinook that's taking heavy fire. His wings dragging the ground, and he's running off. And I didn't have a chance. I was trying to shoot him again, and he got into this river bottom. And dude, I couldn't find him. I looked forever. I look like an idiot out there. I'm throwing sticks and bushes trying to get him to move, and I'm sure he died. I mean, he couldn't roost. I couldn't find him.
Yeah.
And having it to do again, like one thing, if I went in the blind next year, I'd probably have 3 or 4 guillotines, the gobbler guillotines, those big, because I can head shoot them at 10 yards, no problem, or neck shoot them. At 10 yards, I can shoot groups pretty consistently, like this or smaller.
Yeah.
I'd probably have that and then have standard broadheads for, maybe a little bit farther shots, but it's pretty common. I've wounded turkeys with a compound. So one thing, I didn't do anything stupid. I didn't pluck the string. I had good shot execution with my shots. Except for when I went Winchester, a couple of those I might have not had perfect form.
Might have been a little rushed.
Yeah. Because you have to be. I can tell you now, if you go, in my case, from compound with the ability to shoot 80 to 100 yards pretty effectively, to the trad bow, it's a humbling experience. It's very, without sounding like a homo, it's very spiritual. I mean, you have a lot more of a connection with nature and the bow because you have to wait. Like, you don't have a choice. You have got to be quieter. You have got to be more patient by far. You definitely have to have more skills, basically, or more patience. And there's a lot of compound bow shooters that have those skills. I'm not saying they don't, but meaning you put the stick in the hand, you're going to have to wait. There's no way around it. And so I'm hooked. I mean, it was like as awesome as it could get. And I mean, I've shot some, pretty decent sized elk before. And as weird as it is and as stupid as turkeys are, it was as a big a moment for me shooting that turkey with that trad bow than it was. And I was with my buddy Matt, who's like the coolest guy in the world, the greatest guy. It's awesome that he was there for the first trad kill. Because I don't show a lot of excitement. Like, I don't jump around like an idiot when I shoot something. Nothing wrong with that. I just, I kind of just stood there.
Just not the Snyder style.
Yeah, I mean, like Colton thought I was mad when he shot his bull because I just don't say a lot. It's more I just kind of take it in. I'm standing there. I'm like, man, I can't believe I actually pulled this off with that goofy ass recurve for one. And I passed up. It is just a turkey before I get people making fun of me. It is just a turkey, but I did pass up, which is difficult for me, man. I shoot everything. Like I'm a opportunist hunter.
Yeah.
They all taste the same. Younger ones taste better. I'll shoot a Jake without blinking an eye. Well, I got photos of like 15 Jakes in front of the blind at one time. So I was able to pass all those up, able to be extremely patient.
Practicing for elk season, huh?
Well, I really want to shoot a lot of big animals. As bad as this sounds, just to kind of prove a point. Like I wasn't, just using my ability as a compound guy to show some trad shooters that you can switch. It is feasible. And the fact that we could all probably try and get along, because I got to say, trad shooters, some of them are kind of a-holes. And I hope you're listening. I mean, you go to the range and a compound guy goes into a trad shop, you're kind of like an infidel. Like, it's bad. Where a trad guy goes into a compound shop, it's kind of neither here nor there. He's just in there shooting. Where I'm kind of enthralled by all of it, because the ability to shoot a compound at farther distances takes a lot of skill. And the ability to kill stuff with a trad bow takes a lot of skill. Different types of skill, but it's all a skill set.
Right.
And, but for me, with the trad bow, I need to be humbled. I need to probably have some patience. I need to not probably shoot animals at 80 yards. So I'm pretty pumped about it. And the cool thing was I didn't screw up the shot. Like, I executed shots cleanly. So sometimes guys black out. Now, I had some ice in my veins with the compound, but that does not mean I would have it with the trad bow. So
Right.
I was like, okay, am I going to be one of those guys forgets to look through his peep sight, or in the case of a trad bow, forgets his anchor and his name and just starts flinging arrows? Where, I was hitting what I was, aiming at, but the freaking
That's got to
turkey-
feel good, dude.
Yeah, it was cool. It was super cool. Because with all of it combined, but not finding the turkey wasn't cool, but it is what it is. I tried. So,
What do you think about being able to hit, a larger target than a turkey now? Because to me, a turkey's small, which, by the way, I just Googled this. It says that the most wild turkeys die young, but there was a banded hen, a recorded banded hen in the wild that lived 13 years, and a gobbler that lived in Massachusetts to be 15.
I'm going to say mine was 6. I'm going to say it's solid, like I know what I'm talking about. But I don't know.
You should have
But
gone 7, dude.
Yeah.
7.
It was 26 and a half pounds. And I do know about that. That is a massive bird.
For a
When I
bird to live,
depressed it,
to me, once you're shooting a bird that's over like 3 or 4 years old, it's been around a while. It's gotten pretty smart. It's a hard thing to. It's a hard. It would seem to me like it's a pretty hard thing to do. Kill an old bird.
it was funny because
Young birds are dumb like young bucks, man.
Oh, that one Jake was pecking the blind. Like, are you in there, Martha? Like, he's scratching it, like, because I was purring. But the one I shot, he was a ninja. He knew what he was doing. He'd been shot at from a blind, because he literally, like, he'd peck and he'd be like a whitetail, when they stomp. Like, he'd, like, look over at the blind, like, one of you fat guys going to shoot at me? And he'd start eating again. I'm like, okay, So what was good is he had his head down enough for me to get to draw when I killed him. But the thing is after that one ran off, I got back in the blind. And, dude, I don't know if that one, the sound of a broken wing, let the whole world know not to come by the blind, because everything else that came in, dude, this bark, bark, like, don't come over here, like a kind of like an elk when they bark. Mm-hmm. So I had the special needs. Jake came by. I probably should have taken that one out of its misery, but I really wanted to shoot 2 big toms or find 2 big toms. So I didn't want to whack a Jake or whatever. Plus, it's good that, I don't want to destroy the entire population.
You didn't want to shoot the special needs Jake, huh?
Oh, dude, I should have, because a coyote's going to kill that guy. I did have a coyote run by that I just wasn't. He caught me slipping. I about yanked my broadhead through my arm trying to get the freaking bow out of the bow holder when he ran by. But it was cool. A cool trip. As much as it's fun to go beat yourself up on a backpack hunt, when you have to go potty, like number 2, and it's like a 30-second run to the house, there's nothing wrong with that. And then, I got to eat lunch, dinner, and breakfast sitting down at a table, throw my clothes in the dryer, then run back out. So how turkey hunting is, I've never actually, except in Colorado, you backpack in. Yeah. But anyway, I I don't know. I probably had another 10, 12 birds I could have shot that were jakes or small toms. One had about a 6-inch beard. I really thought about shooting, but the thing like as far as lessons learned, I'm going to pad the riser up a little bit more because I just got a little bit of a shelf padding on there now because I shoot off the riser, and then waterproof the feathers, and then obviously staying cognizant of your surroundings, like your leg was a problem. And broadhead choice, like I said, I think I'm gonna set those guillotines up next year. Have 5 of them, 4 of them, whatever, ready to go. And then, obviously being patient with the trad bow. I'm sure you could probably kill one on the ground, especially if you had one of those heads-up decoy screw-in turkey decoys where it comes out of your bow into the left.
Yeah,
I've seen those work pretty well. But for me, for the blind aspect of it, you got to make sure I've hunted out of a blind a bunch for turkeys. Everything's got to be blacked out, black sweater or they can see in the blind. You don't want any backlight in. You just want to have, if you can, one window open or 2 so it's not crisscrossed.
Yeah,
they can see you, but you can't do a whole lot of movement with the bigger toms because they're smart. They've probably been shot out of a blind, especially in Kansas. Like that one tom, he got like 60 yards from the blind. He's like, you could just tell. He's like, oh, there's a blind. Let's not go over there. And then he turned around and walked off. And I'm like, dang it, man.
Yeah, smart birds.
Yeah.
Being completely turkey ignorant, tell me how big is the kill zone on a turkey?
With
a bow,
like that, maybe smaller.
So about 3 inches by 3 inches.
Yeah, you can Google that too. I mean, opinions vary.
Yeah,
it is not very big. They say you have a better chance of hitting it in the head when it's broadside than you do the actual vitals.
So where do people aim when they're trying to kill a turkey then?
So I always try to aim at the bottom of the upper third, and then I kind of follow the leg up. Depends on the angle. Mm-hmm. When they're going away, I basically go base of the neck where it goes in. I just go a couple inches below that. And when they're facing me, kind of the same, principle. You don't want to shoot the beard off. But it depends because they're moving around so much. It's hard to get them to stand still sometimes. And when they do stand still, in the case of a tom, it's usually when they're full strut. And like I said, I don't have a degree in, turkeyology, but I've shot a ton of them. And I've wounded a ton of them, and I've shooting 2.5-inch cutting diameter broadheads, mechanicals. Dude, they're tough. I hit one. I shot its leg off completely. It hopped off, flew down about 300 yards. I looked like Rocky trying to chase that thing down. Finally got to where I could shoot it again. My buddy yesterday, Aaron Kessy, he unloaded the quiver on one. He hit it 4 times before he found it. They're just, it's like a grouse.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
Yeah, they can take some abuse.
Well, it seems like sometimes it's just hard to hit the vital area of the bird.
Yeah,
they're covered in feathers, and sometimes it's not so easy to see. It's not like the crease right behind the shoulder on a bull elk,
No, and I mean the reality of the trad bow. If you put a Reinhardt 18-1 at 15 yards. And you aim at that small circle in the middle.
Yep, which is about the kill zone on a turkey.
You're not going to hit it every time. I don't care who you are, especially cold boar. You're probably going to be a foot high. And then you add the fact you're about to shoot an animal and the adrenaline. It's not that easy to kill one with a bow. I'm not saying that I'm a superstar because I killed a bird with a bow. I'm just saying coming from a compound to a trad, it's a bit more difficult.
So, the target being that small, and then compare that to the target on an elk.
Oh, dude! Right now, I think I'm good to 50. We've been shooting a bunch every night.
Because that you're accurate. Your groups are, let's say, 12 by 12 at 50 every time.
Pretty close. I can hit the Reinhardt 18-1.
But your groups
every time.
But your groups at 30 are not 3 by 3.
No aiming.
It just isn't. It's not possible, or at least not for you.
No, hell no, not for me. And I can tell you now, I've shot against a lot of guys. Not bragging, It's not possible for many. I've shot against a bunch,
It just seems to me that trad gear isn't, it's not as precise as another weapon would be, and so, stacking them like that kind of group seems like it'd be real tough.
yeah. Because he asked me, "Can you hit that?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can hit it. I can't tell you where, but I'll hit it somewhere." I think it was 32 or something, but.
So you're feeling good though when it comes to a bigger size target.
Well, because what we do, Frank and Grant from One Shot, we all go shoot at Bear Creek.
Yeah,
and we all have those Reinhardt 18-1s or blocks.
Yeah,
and so like the 18-1, occasionally I'll miss it. Maybe once out of every 30 arrows. But if I can hit that 18-1, especially the big circle like this. Mm-hmm. At 30 and 40, and which I can, I'm super, super confident at 30 and 40 with the stick bow. And really that's enough. I mean, I think I can get with an elk, I'd prefer obviously to be closer, but with a deer, I'm going to do everything I can to get feet away. Like if I can get inside of 20, I'll definitely do it. And I think patience for me, there's going to be, as far as seeing animals, I never have a problem finding them. A lot of times using the compound a little bit as a crutch, meaning I can screw up a little bit more with the compound because I can shoot it farther.
Yeah.
I'm just going to need to be more patient. And, there's no reason, like with a compound, if I'm at 50 or 60 or 40 or whatever, there's no reason for me to get any closer because I have a good chance of scaring it off and I can hit it extremely consistently.
If you're deadly at 50 yards with a compound, every foot you try to get closer, and you have a shot. I remember Anthony telling me one time, he's like, the best hunters in the world, they take the first shot they can make.
Yeah.
He's like, they take the first shot they can make. Why would you not? You never know what's going to happen after that. If you're precise at 50 yards, you're a great shot at 50 yards, you can hit that shot. Why risk the wind changing? Why risk bumping something, having a doe jump up on your stock? Why risk anything further? If you're with trad gear and your effective range is 20 yards, then you got to get to 20. But why would you try to get to 10? If you've got a shot at 20 and you can make 20, you shoot the shot at 20.
It's just, and I agree.
And I got that lecture because I could nail a target at 40, like no problem. And yet I wanted to get to 20, and he's like, why? Well, I was kind of just nervous and postpone them. No, maybe I'll get a better angle, and then waiting for this perfect setup. This is early in my hunting career. I'm like, and he's like, why did you had a quartering away shot that was perfect. I'm like, well, I kind of wanted it broadside, and he's like, you take the shots when you have them. When you can make them, and I think sometimes new hunters, especially, they keep waiting for that perfect. I've seen this a lot with some of the gals I've hunted with. Their first times out, and they're like waiting for this perfect scenario where everything lines up exactly right, and that's great. But when you have a shot you can make, take it.
Well, and with the compound, that was kind of every shot with me. Not bragging about
I mean
ability. I was very, very confident.
When you put in the time to be that skilled, and because you're probably not genetically built that way, it was just you worked for it.
Well, that bull this morning, this year.
Yeah.
Again, not a giant bull, but it stood out there longer enough bugling. I mean, I shot it about a half inch from where I wanted to and facing me. Not even blink. It's not like I thought, oh, maybe I won't hit it. I thought, oh, should I kill this thing or should I wait a little bit? Because I'm confident shooting a compound. With the trad bow, completely opposite, because every step you get closer from 50, let's say, you are raising the risk of scaring that animal away. And so wherever you're extremely proficient, that's where you shoot from. With the trad bow, to me, so far, I'm not an expert, every step you can get closer is a much higher success level of hitting it.
Yeah.
And so
totally different ball game.
Oh yeah, and you can scare it away, but kind of like you with the compound shooting at 40 and you're accurate, but you want to get closer. I can tell you for me, I may be able to hit the target at 40, but my ass is getting closer because unless I absolutely have to take that shot, I'm going to feel a lot better at 20 than I am at 40. Now,
Yeah.
my point on, luckily for me, because I shoot instinctive, and so once I get to 50, that's my point on, meaning at full draw, I put my tip on the target, that's where I hit. So I put my field tip on it, I hit at 50. And so ideally, if I did everything correct, I could hit a paper plate at 50 every time. The problem is your form plays so much higher, it's so much more important with a trad bow compared to a compound that you don't always do everything right, where there's so many catching features with a compound.
Yeah.
You've got draw stops, you've got a peep sight, you've got a pin, you've got a housing, you got a lot of things helping you.
Totally.
Where you overdraw a quarter, 3/8 of an inch, which I do, and it seems like other people do. They'll draw a little bit farther at farther shots, change your point of impact. And so ideally, like right now, on a bet, yeah, I mean, I think I could kill just about anything, any big game animal at 40 with a trad bow. Of course, I say that without having shot at one yet, but I mean feeling confident at distance from what I've practiced.
Yeah. Something you brought up got me thinking. I was at the Full Draw Film Tour this last weekend, which, by the way, not to disparage any earlier years of Full Draw. I've only been to the last few. I thought this year's film lineup was awesome. Like every film was great. It was a lot of raw and real footage. It was just cool, man. Definitely worth going and catching the show. A lot of cool bow hunting films. Anyway, born and raised, spoiler alert for those of you that are listening, I'm going to go ahead and talk about this, but in their film, I swear to you, like 9 out of 10, because they show a lot of earlier years of footage, kind of like a montage. Like 9 out of 10 bulls are shot in the chest. I mean, that's what it felt like right through the front. And they're killing machines, man. Every bull that got shot in the chest, it seemed to go down within feet of where it got shot. It just lethal.
Don't say that on the internet.
And they have been doing it for years. So I'm looking at that going, there's all this controversy around that. And granted, these bulls, I mean, they're calling them in right on top of them. So they're 10-yard, 20-yard shots, but they're drilling these bulls through the chest, and they are going down like feet away.
I shot a lot of animals in the chest since I was a kid, and
it just makes sense, man.
Arguable point for me. I don't have a degree in elkology. Chris Rowe from Rowe Hunting Resource actually has one of those, so maybe he could tell you. But to me, everything I've ever shot in the chest was a bloodbath and died within 20 yards.
Yeah.
So people ask me, I've gotten questions about it with a trad bow. And I can tell you, inside of 10 yards, without a doubt, I'm taking the shot.
Because I was going to say, I think it's very likely, just like if you're in some thick cover and you're calling, and it's just likely that, and so often in the scenario is the bull comes straight in right to you, and they're like, it's 10 yards away.
And I hunt solo, and not always just solo, but meaning it could be Colton and I backpack in, and we camp 5 miles in, but then we split up.
Yeah.
You're calling solo, especially, I do kind of a calling sequence of, I'll really make some light mews, especially if I've hit like real fresh sign. Yeah. And I set up a cold calling sequence, I'll just, just a little bit. Well, dude, usually they just come in and they're looking.
Yeah.
So when I see them start coming in and looking, I try to stop calling if I can. If they get hung up, I'll usually look back and try to get it to echo behind me and just, really, Well, dude, you're going to have to shoot them in the chest, because the chance of them saying, oh, let me turn and look completely opposite of where I just heard this cow is not probably going to happen.
Yeah.
And maybe it would, but I don't give them the chance because I shoot them in the chest. And I've probably we were trying to figure this out the other day. We were looking through photos of like how many bulls I've killed, which a lot of them are raghorns, but they're dead, and a lot of those were shot in the chest. Same with cows. I've shot a bunch of them. I've shot a lot cornering to me. Between that shoulder blade and the neck, there's a pretty good void there, a pocket.
Yep.
Dude, that takes away some vital stuff. The first time I shot a whitetail out of a tree stand that way, yeah, there's blood shooting in the trees when it ran off. It was crazy.
Well, that's what I noticed. Like the born and raised guys, often it wasn't straight on. It was even kind of at angles.
Yeah.
Yet they fed those arrows right into some vital spots, like every time. One of them, dude, it's pretty gnarly. The bull comes walking up. It's so close. Trent is at full draw. I mean, maybe it was Cody or Josh. I can't remember, but one of them are at full draw, and this bull comes in, and it just goes. It starts just bugling like a dinosaur, and he shoots it in the chest, and it goes. And just silence, and it just stands there like, what the crap? It doesn't, like, it's trying to compute like what just happened.
Yeah.
And then it was over. I mean, right in the middle of the bugle, just gets hit right in the chest, and it just stops. It's pretty intense, so.
And before we get 7 million emails about the frontal shot, let's just throw out some disclaimers here.
Throw them out.
Well, there's a lot of debate whether you're shooting at something this size or this size. Well, it's pretty cut and dry when you cut open an elk and you see the hole you're shooting through. It's pretty big.
Yep.
Now, the case could be made that if it goes left or right, you could wound it, and you could. One thing I can say is you're hitting a pretty meaty part of the shoulder, and the chance if you do wound it, not that you want to wound an animal, the elk's going to be fine. Where if a broadside shot, the elk moves, there's a good chance you're going to hit it in the stomach rather than the shoulder.
In fact, I have a podcast I'm in the middle of editing right now, and Corey Jacobson and I go into this very discussion where when you miss on a frontal shot, it's not fatal.
Yeah.
You miss on a quartering away shot, shoot too far back, you get into the guts area, you accidentally shoot, it can be fatal, but they might die a month, 2 months later, a week later, a day later. You may not be able to find it either. So there's something kind of ethical about the whole frontal shot to me, in terms of it's either fatal or it's not fatal. It's rarely like
it, and it's a collective, like we always talk about, of your past experiences.
Yeah.
I've wounded very few animals, but I've wounded some animals. I've never wounded one on a frontal shot. I've always made what I feel is good decision-making process when I take that frontal or slightly cornering two shot.
Yeah.
Compared to broadside, it is a false sense of hope sometimes, depending, because you think you have a huge kill area. It's big, but it can lead into problems. In my case, I got lucky. The ones I've wounded, I hit in the shoulder, and they were, we saw the one a week later, he was fine.
I remember the first year that I was out hunting elk. I'd been shooting 3D targets and everything else, and I actually hadn't looked at the anatomy inside the elk. Like, I just assumed broadside dead, right? Like 15 years ago. I look at that now, and I'm like, I was not aiming in the most ideal place. Like,
oh, dude, I hugged the leg, the shoulder.
Yeah. And if you're shooting, like, if you're aiming at an elk, and you're going to be off left, right, up, down, if you're going to be off, let's say 3 or 4 inches, either to the left or to the right or up or down, you don't know. You really want to be aiming for the center of whatever that target is, right? So that if you're off, you're still hitting vitals. If you're aiming on the very far fringe, like on the right-hand side of your target, and you're off 4 inches to the right, you just blew it.
Yeah, which most people I've noticed do. I mean, you've got, let's say this is from the upper leg and then back, and this is the butt of the elk.
Yeah.
The reality of it is people generally aim at the back of the lungs of the elk.
Exactly.
And,
they do.
And you want to aim, to me, there's a pocket. If the leg, it kind of comes in and down, I generally put my pin if I'm anything, I'm a hair back from that pocket away. But I really put my pin right on that pocket, because if you go into the meat, you're not hitting anything super dense right away. So you might clip some meat or whatever. And if you go to the left, you got about 6 inches or so, depending on the angle or whatever.
I mean, if you go further behind
you got
the
some room
leg,
for error.
yeah.
So with I can tell you now, I was off on yardage on one frontal shot on a bull I shot in Oregon, and I hit it in the throat. It died. It was coming in that, and I probably had crap running down both legs. Roosevelt, and they're not easy to kill anyway.
Like a Clydesdale.
I hit high, but I clipped a larynx, so I was pretty high. And same thing. He DOA sliced his larynx in half. But Corey's wavered a little bit on the whole frontal. He's always been an advocate of the frontal, but and without going into any detail, the distance he would take that, I've gotten 3 numbers from you, Corey, and they're all different. But Corey has killed a ton of bulls, and he knows the effectiveness of that frontal shot because he's seen the blood trails.
Well, I think we all, like you said, we're making decisions on our collective experience. So distances, ranges, or what the shots we choose to take, they change over time. My opinion 5 years ago is not the same as it is today.
No, 2 months though is a lot of time to change.
Well, I will tell you this: that Corey, with some projects he's working on, he took an entire elk. I'm kind of we already talked about this on this other podcast that I'm going to try to get out here any day now. But he took an elk to the butcher, and they actually X-rayed it or whatever. I'm not sure. They did a bunch of pictures, photos to actually truly take an elk and look at the kill zones on the entire animal, where those vitals are, how big they really are, measured them all, figured out where they are on the body. And it's actually, not really been done at that level before. So it's going to be it's going to be some cool stuff. Other than anecdotally, where I've looked at it and going, oh, that's where the heart is. Oh, that's where the lungs are. That's where the chest. You know what I mean? But this is cool because he's like, one of the things I think he figured out was that your broadside target is a lot smaller than we all think it is, and then the frontal target is a lot bigger than most people think it is. So
that's been my findings, and I shot a bull whenever they had the Matthew Safari at first, 2001 or 3 or something, I don't know.
You're
old.
It's
104 pounds, right? I was shooting 25-14s, just straight death, right? And I shot a bull with a 25-14, and I was shooting those with the Ultimate Steels rockets.
Yeah.
Basically, I killed, cutting down the size of your pinky, right? I think they were 7/8. Probably because my broadhead flight sucked, so I had to shoot a small broadhead. But anyway.
Yeah.
I hit this bull coming in and just waylaid him in the chest at 6 yards. And he spun, and I couldn't tell. Something flew. Dude, my arrow, the veins must have been sticking in his butt cheek or right out of the brown eye, because it just out of it when he spun. I'm like, man, what the hell was that?
The arrow went all the way through his whole body?
Yeah. I mean, it's a freak fluke of luck, but with that much momentum, going through. But
well, not only that, there's really... From that entry point to that exit point, if you hit the right spot, there's nothing there that's difficult
I
to
shot
pass
the
through.
Bull at full bugle, and dude, he was growling. He was one of those. He was an older bull, so he did. His main beams were like, this big around and this long. Not this exaggeration, but old bull. And he was just a dinosaur, just. Well, I shot him at full bugle, and I don't think he knew, so he didn't have time to jolt.
Yeah.
So it's just a clear trajectory or clear path of death straight through him. Well, I get up and I'm cleaning him out, and I can't find my arrow. And I start looking, and it had just nicked, when I was going to cut out the butt. Anyway, so I go back and look, and there my arrow was. It passed completely through him.
That's why they call it the Texas heart shot, because there's no. It's pretty easy for that bullet to go right to the heart.
Well, dude, and this is old school
soft tissue.
Yeah, I was shooting the super slams, when Chuck Adams was this big deal. And I was funny because this is back, y'all, so much more back then. I was like, I was shooting like these little veins. Couldn't figure out why my broadheads couldn't fly. Shooting 105 pounds. Arrows doing a U-turn coming out the bow. Like, basically the oscillation or whatever, the arrow, the paradox.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I've learned a little bit since then. But, along the side, the trad compound, frontal, obviously just shoot what you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable with a frontal shot, it's not like I'm, punching you in the shoulder saying, you weenie, just take it. But if you're comfortable, if you're proficient, it is a pretty lethal shot. That bull, I'll never forget when I heard Colton chuckle when I hit that bull this year. And when he spun, it like the blood shot up and kind of silhouetted the hillside, like the movie 300. Yeah. And I heard Colton from the bush beside me, and then it just piled up. He's like, "Did you shoot that in the chest?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I smoked it." And I don't know if he'd seen a bull shot in the chest. Most of his were broadside. Well, we get up there, and it's like this wide, right? Like 3 feet wide of blood for 15, 18 yards.
Yeah.
And then his horns were just buried in the grass. And you can see a few YouTube videos. That kid shoots that bull frontal, and it just stands there.
Yeah.
And it's just pumping straight out onto this log. Now, if you're not comfortable with it, just don't shoot. Don't take the shot.
The most heartbreaking, I think the most heartbreaking elk shot for me, where I hit an elk and never found it, was a broadside shot. And it felt really good. It looked pretty good. It was a little far back, but it was like the perfect height. If it didn't hit the lungs, it was like, man, it looked like it did,
Yeah.
It went arrow passed through both sides, and blood just started squirting out both sides of this bull, and it's standing there and wide open, and I was like, oh, it's gonna drop, and then the thing just kind of walked off slow and a long way, like I watched it walk for 100 yards, and it was dripping blood out.
Yeah.
And then it goes over this bank and down the hill.
Kind of his head down.
No, not really. I mean, it was down, then he'd bring it back up again, look around, then it would go down, But I followed. We gave the bull a few hours, and then we went and got it. And we followed the blood all the way to where we saw him go down the hill, and then the blood stopped.
Yeah, see, that would have been a tough call to push it or let it lie. Because if you hit one lung, probably push it. If you hit guts, don't push it. And you probably hit one lung.
And so we started following it, and nothing, no blood. And then we spent the next couple of days trying to find it, and I never found it. And that was probably, it was like, that was heartbreaking. It was one of those where it was a easy shot. I hit pretty much where I was aiming. I just wasn't aiming far enough forward because I just was naive on where the actual vitals were.
Well, I think unless you're trained if you kind of learn on your own, like you and I have, probably everybody does that. I know I did. I didn't know. I learned real quick once I killed it.
Yeah, you learn real quick. You're like,
whoa.
I thought I was already dancing a jig, man. I thought he was going to drop right in front of me, and all the blood coming out. And then for the blood to stop, just stop. That was new for me. I shot a bull in Arizona a few years back, and that one was perfect. That arrow couldn't have been more perfect. It went right through his heart, right through his lungs. The bull nailed him. That bull ran about 100 yards or more, 125 yards, full speed. He spun around, he ran as fast, but the arrow went all the way through, hit the offside shoulder, the bone in the down low, and bounced back out, but completely all the way through. That bull ran, like I said, about 100, 125 yards and didn't bleed a drop.
Yeah.
Not a drop. And it was right down low, right in the leg, that curve of the leg, right through the heart. The arrow, the blood should have been coming out, because it's a low shot. And
what broadhead were you shooting?
A slick trick.
Huh. And those are good heads.
Yeah. The bull was up on a hill, so it went up.
Yeah.
And so the offside was a little high, but just like mid-body, whereas the entry point was right up behind the shoulder. He was just slightly above me. But when that arrow went in, there should have been plenty of blood coming out that hole. Just didn't bleed. And when we got to the bull, we finally found it, but it was nerve wracking because it's fatal. We have it on video. We know it's fatal. There's just no question. We just couldn't.
Dude, that's
it just
the
didn't
worst.
bleed.
It's almost like going on a year-long deployment where you're going away from your family. It's the same crappy feeling, and you have in your stomach of, am I going to find this? I've been super, super lucky that the ones that I've hit, that I've wounded, were without a doubt going to live because they were shoulder. And I hit one elk in the shoulder. This was with Pecker 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Dude, I think the broadheads and the quibbler were rattling, dude, it was perfect. We called these bulls straight up. It was a 5x6, like 3.5-year-old bull, standard Snyder bull.
Yeah.
Up the hill, and I'm like, oh, it's money. He's coming like right down the path. I'd hoped everything's working out perfect for me. You're kind of setting up James to shoot, so he got screwed because they came to me, and it comes up, and I mean, just like a movie, stops. And, dude, right when I shot, that thing shot straight back. And it sounded like a baseball bat, hit a tree. Whack! But, dude, he immediately bled. And I was like, maybe And he runs down the hill. And James, for whatever reason, when we hunt together, generally, even when we set him up for the shot, gets the crappy end of the stick. So he yells a couple MFers at me. And I'm like, shh. He hadn't seen me miss, right? I generally don't.
Right.
Dude, shh. So I'm trying to get a shot at I should have just shot it in the femoral in the butt because I had a shot at that. Second arrow is kind of all bets are off.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to sneak down in there, and I'm like seeing blood pumping out of him. Like, what the heck? And he runs off. So James is one of the best trackers I've seen. Dude, there's a circle of blood. And he's like, dude, this bull's dead. And I'm like, dude, I think I hit it in the shoulder. Well, that massive cutting diameter had on that broadhead, it was just a massive muscle wound. We tracked that thing forever, jumped it up, same thing, bleeding, and it's getting smaller. I just hit it in the shoulder. Couldn't find it. But I missed a bull, not to tell all these stories. We talk about heartbreaking. It's my most heartbreaking. The short version, buddy called it in, opening day. Creep into this big aspen thicket or aspen grove. There's a 5x5 feeding, and this was a good tag. And he's like, shoot it. And I'm like, dude, I'm not shooting that thing here today, not on opening day. And then I was looking, and I could see other legs moving around. And I'm like, dude, I think, because it was early season, I'm like, dude, there's a ton of elk in here. He had that decoy, my heads up decoy. And so he pulled, I said, pull that decoy out, get back there and cow call a little. Man, I was not ready for the chaos that was about to occur. So I lock an arrow, and he called in like 30 cows. They're all around me feeding. And I mean, I don't know how they didn't wind us. I got a 5x5 here, a 6x6 here. Nothing wrong with me whatsoever. This big, just a cock walloper, just comes right. He's like 370, 365. Biggest, probably the biggest bull I've seen in that unit. Runs 30 yards. Well, he was 26 yards, I guessed him at 30. Well, I'm shooting like an idiot, 85, 90 pounds, draw back, and I'm following him, and I got a tree right here, and I hit the tree, so I have to take a step back, and he just muscled up and stopped. And I put my 30 on him, probably punched the trigger. Well, he went down so fast on the way back up, I caught my knock on his spine, and my arrow just started to topple. Well, it broke my knock off. My buddy's like, you nailed it. I'm like, dude, I missed. It's like, you missed. And I'm like, I missed, dude, I missed. Shh, keep calling. And, of course, for that insult, he ran up on top of the hill and bugled for an hour back and trying to get all his elk back to him.
Yeah.
And my buddy called every elk back in there back and forth. Luckily, I didn't wound it, but I about cried. I mean, huge bull opening day. Crap happens. Honestly, I think with a stick bow, I would have just shot that thing walking. I would have snapshot it because it wasn't moving fast. It was just moving like barely.
It seems like that kind of shot is more natural with a stick bow.
I wish
by far than a compound.
Yeah.
There's like these advantages, disadvantages. There's a guy. Is it Joel Turner?
Yeah, he's friends with the Clums. He's got the Iron Mind shooting school they actually have here, and he's a SWAT team guy. And he's a real good recurve shooter.
Yeah, he's got some. He's a shooting instructor.
Yep.
And
both with kicking down doors and with a bow.
Yeah, and I heard him on the Sharp Sticks podcast with Chris, and he was an interesting guy, but he talked about kind of his strategy, and he would call these elk in, and they'd come in, and I think they came in on a front shot, but he didn't take the front shot. And, he'd stand there, and he talked about how drawing your bow back, they see you when you draw your bow back, right? So he was saying something like, and he says he has lots of video. I haven't seen it. I haven't done it. But he's like, he goes to draw his bow back, and, of course, the elk sees it, and then they turn to leave. And then he says that he lets them actually turn to leave, and he calls like this abrupt call, which almost leaves them at a quartering away shot every time at close range. They almost always stop and look, and boom, he sinks the arrow in at that shot over and over again. I haven't actually...
Maybe.
Huh?
Maybe. I'll shoot in the chest. I'll draw back before it comes.
Yeah. I mean, seems like... but he talked about how reading animal behavior, I think, and then having that... almost like a snapshot, like being able to make that quick drawback shoot in that close range, and then using the animal's behavior and curiosity against it as it moves. It was kind of it's a very interesting podcast.
He's a hell of an elk caller too.
Yeah,
he can call elk.
He kills stuff, but it makes me. It's like it's an awful big gamble. It seems to just say, okay, I'm gonna give away my position and all that, and then I'm gonna catch you on your turnaround, and then get you. But certainly, I do think that I've seen guys like Anthony with his stick bow being able to like just real quick pull and shoot. I mean, you can certainly get a shot off on a moving target in a way you cannot do with a compound.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I know on my what I know of Joel is his coaching for the mental game of archery.
Yeah.
He's got a pretty good methodology or thought process of that or through that. He's actually going to have a school here in a month I may go to.
Yeah.
Kind of how to handle.
Yeah, he talks about the blackout, like how guys just black out in the middle of their shot.
Matt told me he blacks out every time he shoots something in the blind. I was like, can you remember anything? Man, I don't remember anything.
Well, he was talking about how that works in cycle, because it's part of his shooting school.
Yeah,
and how these guys just black out, and then what you need to do to prevent that from happening, and a lot of it had to do, it sounded like, with breathing and oxygen, and it kind of reminds me of like Mark Devine at Seal Fit, I think, and some of these guys that talk about what do you call it, combat breathing?
Yeah, well, everybody has a different name, but yeah, combat breathing.
Basically, where you don't lose your...
Well, the problem is when you go through a kill house, especially a real one, where you got a good chance of getting killed, there's so much going on, right? And you have to be able to, you get deck of cards, card. Okay, this is the card I need type of a thing. As you're going through, there's so much going on and so much on your mind. You forget, you get tunnel vision, and you may get tunnel vision on the wrong thing. There's so many different things in your surroundings that you have to be able to assess the situation so fast, discard what is not important, and focus on what is, while being attentive to other things at the same time, and you're worrying about your team. He talks a lot about that type of stuff where with hunting, it's true, the more you kill, you get some guys get better at it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like I've talked to a lot of guys, they don't even remember if they looked through their peep sight. Where was it standing when you shot it?
Yeah.
No idea. Where were you? I'm not sure. One of the reasons why we love the sport. I mean, he definitely can put you in, like, utter chaos quick.
Being able to detach to an extent, I think, is a huge... and just because you can do it in, like, combat doesn't mean you can do it when an animal comes in. It's so interesting that it's like it's a completely different thing. Like, there's some guys that are just amazing in an emergency, life or death situation, and then they black out when an elk comes in.
Yeah.
And it's
Cleveland at Rocky Mountain. He's killed all kinds of stuff. I think it took him 15 years to shoot it. He just blacked out on elk.
Yeah.
And he's killed everything.
It's so funny, but I think some of that it should translate usually. If you can handle yourself in that high pressure situation, you kind of have the same skill set to handle it in this new situation. But I find that women, when I go hunting with a lot of the gals I've been with, they don't really care whether they shoot it or don't shoot it.
Yeah.
And so in the moment when that animal comes in, they're like, got it, okay. Should I shoot now? Should I wait? And you're like, shoot now, take your time. And you're all like, be calm, pull the trigger real quick, all this. And they're like, they're not even worried, right? They're just executing, and they shoot because there's this detachment where it's like it's not such a big deal. And I think sometimes that's what happens to a hunter is like they've worked so hard and they've prepared so long that in that moment it matters so much, and they put so much pressure on that moment that there's this blackout period and all that goes into it.
I talked to Luke about what happened. Luke Johnson, he shot an elk 2 years ago.
Yeah. And
he's funny because he's like, because Luke's mind is constantly going, right? And I'm like, he's like, dude, he goes, I had 7 million things go through my mind at one time. He's like, I had so many things going through my mind, I got confused, I think, because he was so excited. And I think, over time, it may get better over time. Some people it doesn't. I've met lots of guys that still black out when things come in.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing too. I remember it's just a turkey, I know, but I remember everything exactly. Almost, I couldn't remember where each turkey was, and I was going Winchester when that little guy was running around. But I do remember. But I do. There's a few animals in the earlier years where I'm not 100% sure what happened. There was I got conked in the head and had a concussion for a solid 2 minutes before and after the elk came in because it was all a blur.
Oh yeah.
But
there was there's 2 or 3 where I can remember where I just don't remember anything. And I remember, and Anthony's talking to me afterward. He's like, so which pin did you use? And, where were you looking through the peep and da-da-da-da? And, dude, I couldn't remember any of it.
Yeah,
nothing.
That's funny. That was a question you got with the bow setup. Guys have been asking a bunch with the setup for the bow and what bows I've shot. You know what I mean? Like whatever. Yeah. I've been testing a bunch. But so I shot I was shooting basically a standard carbon arrow that weighs 8.9 grains per inch. And I didn't use like the traditional type shafts because those add a little bit of weight, and I wanted more weight up front. Yeah. So I'm shooting a 31.5 inch standard carbon shaft with 250 grain point. Okay. I've got 3 Fletch 5-inch feathers with a left helical, and it's offset and a helical. It's a crazy helical. My bow's technically, if I draw correctly, I'm at 56.7 pounds. For this trip, I was shooting a multiple assortment of broadheads of whatever I could get sharp before I left. I had some snuffers. I had bear razor heads. I had a couple of the cutthroats from Rocky Mountain. That's what I'm going to hunt with this year is the cutthroat broadhead from Rocky Mountain Specialty Gear. It's a single bevel, solid 250 grain broadhead.
Yeah.
As far as bows go, I mean, if you're cool, talk about Bob sent you a bow. You did a video on that. Big Stick Archery.
Yep.
And dude, he's a funny guy. He calls me every now and then.
Yeah.
He's pretty funny. Like his whole pack crisis, he didn't know you were supposed to wear the pack on your hips, nor did he know you weren't supposed to just throw 100 pounds in the bottom of it. And he's like, man, this thing's uncomfortable.
He's from the Midwest.
Yeah.
They don't have mountains.
Dude. Yeah, I think he's a little bit of a reddish in the beard face.
He's a bearded man, yeah, big
beard. I think he's like 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah.
Long legs. Anyway, the Big Stick Archery, we tried those. That's a good longbow that I've shot. South makes great bows. We've shot those. I'm shooting the Buffalo right now, and then I've got Carbon Quattro limbs on it that has a very pimped out custom paint job from my front porch with a rattle can. People asked about, how I did that. I just buff it up with sandpaper. There's nothing crazy about it. I spray paint a base coat, and I have these stencils, and then I just spray all over it with different colors. That's it.
You're so creative, Aaron.
It's just like we painted our rifles in the military. But the one company that's super cool, rear bows, River's Edge recurves.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear the story with those guys?
No.
Dude, they're cool. They're young, right? Like super young. And I talked to them a couple days ago because I ordered one of their bows. I wanted to try it.
Yeah.
So I think they were such good kids, and they were friends with the people that owned it. The guy sold it to them, and it's just these two kids that took over the company. So, dude, the guy's cool as hell. He listens to the podcast.
Yeah.
Both of them do, the brothers. But I ordered a couple bows from them to screw around with and try. But Ben Guttormson, the bearded ginger, he does look like Yukon Cornelius from ASAT. He has one, and he's been bragging them up. But definitely check out the rear bow guys, Big Stick Archery. They sent you and I a longbow, Big Stick did, which looks like you might be a little bit overbowed.
At first it seemed like it was, but
you get used to it.
Yeah. Now, actually, the first time I was drawing it, I was like shaking like this, you know? And then, and it's funny, like just after a few days of shooting it, it's not hard at all. So I think it was just a real foreign. It just felt funny.
Well, and you watch guys shoot, and you get the snap shooter.
Yeah.
I think someone's getting robbed and killed. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's got to be I can hear the car alarm.
I promise Kafaru's not in the hood. We're in a good neighborhood. Mother of pearl. Anyway, there's the snap shooter, that basically gets to his face and just lets it go.
Yeah.
Don't do that. That's bad. I'm not an expert, but from what I've been told by experts, don't do that.
And I've heard like the deep hook.
Yeah. And all the coaching I get's from the Clums, and they go to the Olympic Training Center, so that's where the coaching comes from.
Yeah.
A deeper hook, so instead of instead of here, you want to be more in here, deeper.
Yep.
Plus, it gives you about half-inch longer draw length. So the idea for the correct shock sequence, and I'm just repeating shit that I overhear. It's not like I know this. It's just what someone told me.
Yeah.
Is you go to full draw, your elbow, everything's enlightened. You have alignment.
Just like similar to a compound in alignment.
My left arm, my bow arm's actually not technically a recurve type trad bow arm. It's a little bent, which it probably shouldn't be. But you want to get to anchor and start pulling through your shot
with your shoulder.
3 to 4 second. Yeah, you want back tension. And so when you're done, the technically correct way is straight back and touch your shoulder. Straight back and touch your shoulder. You don't
I heard you're just supposed to let your hand go limp.
Kind of.
Is that how you do it, or do you open your hand?
I just kind of let it go, just slip out like a book slipping out of my hand. When I do it right, which is not all the time. For me, when I shoot low left. Now you can collapse, and there's many, pluck the string, you'll shoot right. There's predominant ways, and I'm probably explaining that piss poor. If you have any questions, just call Rocky Mountain Specialty Gear, because I'm only telling you what they told me. Yeah. But they'll help you tuning and everything too. But like when I miss left. Mm-hmm. And generally it's because I'm dropping my bow arm, right? So I don't miss right very often. If I dig too far in my face with my anchor, because this is your rudder back here, pluck the string, I'll shoot a little bit right. I should stop talking because I'm not a coach, and I just started doing this anyway. But for me, what I've definitely learned, just like a compound, practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Yeah. And you can have a little bit untextbook form and still be fine. In my case, my bicep doesn't allow me, not that I have, giant guns, but it's not a comfortable movement for me to go, I can't even touch my shoulder here. So I'm coming away a little bit. So my form when I shoot, I don't like pluck the string, but when I come off, I come like this. I don't come back and down. I kind of come away.
Okay.
It's not perfect, but it works. I'm not really worried about it. Either way, if you're looking at getting a trad bow, because I've gotten all these messages, one, don't ask me for too much because I don't know what I'm doing yet. I only am doing what I'm told.
Yeah.
But two, find a good coach and make some phone calls because I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for the coaching I've had from the clums.
We're also gonna get. I'm gonna get set up with a compound. Probably go visit. We'll probably get together soon because there's still a lot of guys. We did last year. You went on about your whole setup, and I'm getting a lot of guys asking emails about this year. What's a good compound setup? So,
well, we're probably gonna go when you get here to No Limits to Phil's. His shop's nice because you get 40 yards indoors and it's got about 95 lanes across it. It's huge. And Phil's like the compound guru, right? Like for what Rocky Mountain knows with trad, Phil knows with compounds.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice when you get here because you get the best of all worlds of great.
A little bit of training on both ends. Yeah.
Well, like if you're having a bad day with a trad bow, just go grab the other bow.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome because we're getting a lot of guys asking about both, and so be cool to get into that. There's a lot of great podcasts out there, that go into that already. But
Dudley's, and I don't listen to podcasts much.
Knock on,
he's pretty freaking cranked up when it comes to compounds, and he's not full of crap. I mean, it's good info, man. I mean, he's a smart dude.
Yeah. So, and then you got Phil too.
Yeah. Well, Phil's got
championship bow hunting.
I think because Phil and I are such good friends, I suck at remembering Phil all the time. He's probably pissed at me now because I don't bring him up enough. But with Phil, he does like a weekly upload.
Yeah.
Of what for everything from bow repair kits to tuning broadheads, form, everything known to man. And Phil's is championship bow hunter or championship bow hunting.
Yep.
And his is straight info for the whole thing.
Yep. Those are much more technical podcasts than the Gritty Bowmen.
Oh yeah. What? This isn't good. Kind of want to do this, not this.
It's perfect. All right, dude.
We don't want to show that we know any more than we've already shown because we can't handle any more emails.
Yeah. The email traffic is insane. But this is cool, man. I wanted to get the turkey story for sure. And just so folks know, I actually am running 2 cameras today.
Yeah.
Because I got so much heat so we posted this podcast with Tim Burnett and I. And Tim and I experimented with some video, audio stuff to try to improve the remote Skype thing. And it turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
And anyway, I got a lot of guys saying, you got to step it up, dude, So anyway, I'm experimenting right now, but it's kind of a moot point because pretty soon I'll probably be in Colorado full time.
Yep. And
then we'll just sit down and do this.
You'll get to see video of all kinds of funny stuff because it's here.
We'll just go to the clums and I'll just record you and you can show me that
epic movement,
that technique, right? With
exactly.
The arm.
Well, between shooting at the clums and at Phil's and Red Rocks and Bear Creek, there's never a dull moment. Like my wife does not know how I keep up because of I won't expect you to be training with me because it is before your wake up time.
I'm much more of a late morning kind of workout guy.
But the Bear Creek shooting, the training at there's nothing better than getting a guy puking on film.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So like the fire trail, all that stuff, fishing, shed hunting.
No, it'll be good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're always doing something crazy.
It'll be fun. All right, man.
Cool.
Well, you have a great day, Aaron. Go get some wham sauce.
Yeah, exactly. All right, thanks, man.
All right, later. Stay gritty.
Yep.
Okay, gritty friends. I hope you enjoyed that podcast. If you did, please take a moment to leave us a review on iTunes, Podbean, or Stitcher. We love reading your reviews. And connect with us on social media if you're on there. Look us up on Facebook and Instagram, and take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can receive notifications when we upload new videos. We've got a sweet deal with Mountain Ops. You get 20% off on all Mountain Ops supplements, combo packs, and apparel when you type in the word Gritty at checkout. If you're a hardcore elk hunter, or you want to be, go to the Elk 101 website online and check them out. Our friend Corey Jacobson is killing it with some of the best elk hunting information and entertainment on the web. If you haven't heard, we're doing a huge gear giveaway to try and grow and expand the Gritty community on Facebook and Instagram. I asked a bunch of friends to pitch in on this gear giveaway, and they all came through with some awesome stuff. Our friends at Kifaru, Rockslide, First Light, Phelps Game Calls, One Shot Gear, Mountain Ops, Triple X Archery, Blacktail Outdoors, and Is It September Yet are pitching in some sweet gear for the giveaway. We'll announce all the details in the next few weeks. All you have to do to be entered to win is like our Gritty Bowmen Facebook page and follow us on Instagram. All right, friends, let me leave you with one other quote from Theodore Roosevelt, who said, "It behooves every man to remember that the work of the critic is of altogether secondary importance, and that, in the end, progress is accomplished by the man who does things." We all have a choice. We can be people who do things or people who criticize the work of others. It's pretty simple, really. Get out there and do your thing. Good luck on your hunts, and stay gritty.
This is Ty Stubblefield, and you're listening to the Gritty Bowmen.
Gritty Bowmen.